Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. Today I'm going to be speaking about an analogy that the Asharis used to defend the theory of Kasb. Okay, so the theory of acquisition, that God is creating every single event and yet we are responsible. So God creates everything. We don't have power, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. But how can we then be responsible, or how can we be said to be doing something? So in one of my community posts some days ago, I said, God creates, we do. So God doesn't do our actions. God creates our actions. We are the ones that do it. And if you understand compatibilism, this is totally fine. And therefore we are responsible. Whoever does something is responsible for what he does. Whoever creates something is responsible for creating. So what did God do? God created. Therefore God is a creator. God didn't do the action. He created the person that does the action. And with compatibilism, we can explain this. Okay, now, the next question now is that some people are not satisfied with this answer. They want to push that. If you say that God is creating everything, is God the creator of the good and the evil? So they will say God is the creator of the good and the evil. And then they will say, therefore God is evil. Now, there's a problem here, and I want to point it out. I don't want to hide this at all. The problem is that we want to usually say that if we witness something good, we will say God is good because of what he created. But God is also the creator of everything. If you believe God is creator of all, what about the evil events? God created that too. So would you then say God is evil? Do you see the problem? So most people don't want to say that. So I think the only way to escape this is to make sure we know what we're saying here. When you say that, you shouldn't say that God is good by what he created, or is evil by what he created. All you can say is that God is a creator. It transcends those things. And here comes the analogy. Here comes the analogy, guys. So the Asharis said, if God created, let's say, a blue ball, okay? So you see this ball and it's blue. Do you ascribe blueness to God? Do you say, whoever created this blue ball must be blue? Of course not. We don't say this, right? Because the ball is the one that is blue, not the creator of the ball. So you do not make that jump to now ascribe blueness to the creator of the blue ball. Similarly, if you witness, because when you see something that is blue, you're making a judgment. And I have another example actually. If that one seems to be like direct perception kind of thing, there's another analogy. You could say, for instance, God created the event of you perceiving something that smells nice. So you smell something that is nice. God created that event. So because God is the creator of that event, does that make God smell nice? Na'uzubillah. And the opposite? Of course not. So, or you could say that delicious, when you eat a meal that is delicious, God is the one creating that. All of it, all that event, God is creating it. Does that make God delicious? Na'uzubillah. Of course not. We do not ascribe these things to God because they are judgments that we make, and we are the ones responsible, and we are the ones experiencing these things. God transcends them. God is the creator of them. He doesn't become ascribed with those things. So this is the argument, I think, and it's actually, to me, a very strong argument. If anyone has anything against this, put it in the comment section. And this is how they avoid ascribing evil to God, yet God is the creator of all things. The first method is to make that distinction between God creating and you doing. You did it. God is creator of all, but you did it. And then they made the order. If someone is not satisfied with that and still wants to ascribe evil to God by force, they can use this analogy of saying the creator of a blue ball is not blue colored. He is the creator, but it doesn't is not attributed with the blue color. Think about it very well before you make comments, because if good and evil are just like that too, isn't good and evil from our own point of view, human being, anthropocentric point of view, isn't it the case? For instance, let me give you a good example. When you slaughter a cow and you are eating the meat, to you, that is a good thing. You are eating, you are satisfying your hunger. That is good. But to the cow, it is evil. right? So, in a way, what is good for you as a human being is detrimental to the life of the cow. So the cow can complain and say this is evil, right? But to you is good. So in a way, it shows us that there's a human-centric aspect of this issue where what we perceive, for instance, when I see something that is blue, maybe another animal doesn't see it as blue. Do you see? So now, what is the objective truth about that thing? And can it be ascribed to God? So you will see that it's actually relative to the species that we are talking about here. And in a way, you cannot ascribe those things to God unless you can show me the problem with not ascribing blueness to God because He created a blue ball. Ascribing good and evil to God also will fall under that category because they are all judgments that we are making. If that is it, like for instance, hot. If God creates an object that is hot, okay, does God become hot? And you will say that, in fact, since God is the creator of both hot and cold, you will see that it's contradictory to ascribe both of them that God is hot and God is cold, right? It doesn't make sense because those attributes are attributes of the things that God created. The only thing you can say about them is that who created this? God. God is responsible for creating it, not responsible for doing it or responsible for the attributes of what He has created. You cannot ascribe that to God. Show me if there's any problem with this analogy and how it doesn't work and how good and evil is not a judgment, just like those things, just like hot and cold, just like blue and not blue, just like delicious and not delicious, just like smelling nice and not smelling nice, just like beautiful and ugly. When you perceive something as beautiful, perceive something as ugly. God is creator of them, but do you ascribe those things to God? Why do you then only focus on the good and the evil and you want to ascribe evil to God? So I already told you, I'm not hiding anything. I've already showed you that by this logic, this same logic, you cannot ascribe good to God, that God is good by virtue of what He created. Or God is, just like we have eliminated evil, we cannot then sneak in good. What we should do is that God transcends these things because they are judgments from our own perspective. If you want to say God is good, you have to do tafwid. You have to consign the meaning of what that goodness is. And in a way, what I said in one of my videos is that you have to say God is just. He's just. He's the creator. He creates all. Therefore, that's the end of the story. Because when we say good, we are trying, it's kind of anthropocentric. That's the point. If you have any problem, if you have any sound argument, please put it in the comment section. See you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.